They would not bow, they would not swear loyalty, and they would not fight. For that, they were fined, beaten, imprisoned, and sometimes killed. Not because they were violent, but because they refused to conform. The danger they posed was not military, it was moral. They believed no earthly power had the right to force belief. That idea was radical enough in England. In America, it would become an experiment. And not just in religion, but in society itself. In earlier chapters, we met two other visions of liberty. The Puritans sought moral order through shared belief. The Cavaliers built order through hierarchy, land, and rank. The Quakers rejected both. They did not want enforced unity, and they did not trust inherited authority. They believed every person carried an inner light. Truth did not belong only to rulers, priests, or magistrates. It could speak through ordinary souls. That changed everything. How they understood religion, how they understood authority itself. They were not simply a sect with unusual beliefs. They were a distinct kind of people. And if given the chance, they meant to live differently. Among them was William Penn. He was no desperate exile from the margins. He was educated, connected, and born near power. But Penn came to believe that coercion corrupted both faith and government. A society worth building would have to leave conscience free. That was the gamble. Then he was given land in the New World, a vast tract in North America, enough space to test whether this vision could actually live. Not a society held together by fear, not one governed by rigid rank, but one held together by agreement. That sounds simple when said quickly. It was not simple at all. Agreement had to be built into daily life. There were no mandatory churches, no forced attendance, no required belief. Religion still mattered deeply, but it was not imposed from above, it was meant to be chosen. Authority existed, but it was restrained. Power depended more on consent than fear. Order did not come from fear. It came from shared agreement and mutual restraint. People were expected to govern themselves. That shaped property as well. Land was not supposed to be pure seizure. Wanted legitimacy, not just possession. And so the Quakers did something unusual in the colonial world. They negotiated with the Native Americans already there. They treated them as parties to agreement. This was not sentimental idealism floating above reality. It was practical coexistence. Peace was better for conscience and better for settlement. For a time, it worked remarkably well. Trade replaced raids. Trust replaced some of the fear that haunted other frontiers. That does not mean everything was perfect. It means the colony tried a different path, and for a while, the path held. For a time, the experiment looked remarkably successful. Pennsylvania grew quickly. People came not just for land, but for breathing room. The colony offered something rare in the colonial world: relative peace, religious tolerance, and the chance to build a life without constant coercion. Philadelphia began to rise. Trade expanded. The Quaker experiment no longer looked like a fragile dream at the edge of the wilderness. But success changes every experiment. The more Pennsylvania grew, the less purely Quaker it became. More migrants arrived. Not all of them shared Quaker habits. Many wanted the freedoms of the colony more than the discipline that made those freedoms possible. A society founded by Quakers was becoming a society not made up only of Quakers. That changed the character of the colony, even before it changed its laws. This was the hidden vulnerability in the system. Agreement depends on shared habits, and shared habits are hardest to preserve in success. The original Quaker settlers had built their world around restraint. They did not simply want freedom, they wanted freedom governed from within. But many later arrivals did not inherit that same instinct. They might accept the colony's liberties without sharing the inner discipline that sustained them. And Pennsylvania did not live outside history. The frontier still existed. Neighboring colonies still thought in terms of force, rank, and fear. A peaceful colony still had to survive in a dangerous world. That made security a harder question than conscience alone could answer. What happens when people committed to peace must govern a larger, more exposed, more diverse society? What happens when liberty must do more than simply refuse coercion? The Quakers had proved something real. Pluralism was possible. Coexistence was possible. Agreement could hold more than many believed. But they also revealed the cost. A society built on consent depends on habits it cannot force people to keep. That is what made their liberty both noble and fragile. It solved the problem of coerced conscience better than almost anyone. but it could not make trust automatic. The Puritans answered disorder with unity. The Cavaliers answered it with hierarchy. The Quakers answered it with agreement. Each answer solved something. Each answer carried a cost. And that is why these factions matter. Because the deeper question did not go away. If belief is no longer forced, what then holds liberty together? For the fight for liberty never ends. It only changes hands.